Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and welcome to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, I'm talking to Joel Thika from London, who has written a book called Silent Influencers. Joel, welcome.
Thank you, Matt. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Now, we were chatting the other day, and you were telling me about your career. I mean, you've worked for some amazing organizations in some amazing roles, and now you're working as an executive coach. Just give us a quick snapshot of who you've worked for and what you've done.
Yes, absolutely. So my career started off at S&P Global, which is a Fortune 500 financial services company. I worked there first as an intern, really enjoyed that, and I believe I did well because I got made permanent. So I went into a sales role, so selling financial data and software, which was incredible. Really enjoyed that. Built great relationships with investment banks, private equity firms, and that was just an incredible space to be in. So now I am a coach. So I go around coaching corporate companies and organizations around leadership and public speaking skills.
Fantastic. And Joel, when did you first think, I want to write a book?
So the idea came in probably 2019. And at that time, I was in my final year of university, which might tell the audience how old I am. And back then, I was in a space where I was figuring out life, what's next for me. Also trying to juggle assignments and deadlines and things like that. And I had a moment where all of a sudden I thought, the next part of my life looks like building a career, but actually, is that all that life is about? And at that moment, I started thinking and pondering, and I immediately realized that actually, life is all about being holistic individuals. And our primary goal is not to build this thing here, this platform or whatever, but it's actually about building a deep foundation. And so the idea started in 2019.
Wow. So it's been fermenting, percolating in the background for 5 years.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
why did you decide to write and publish the book now? I mean, what brought you to this point?
Yeah, so after years of procrastination, but I think what happened now was just kind of observing what's happening in the time that we're in, and particularly for my generation, having this sense of there are so many distractions. And with the rise of technology and social media, if we're not careful, almost like our identity can be curated for us. And so I believe we're in a time where it's more pivotal than ever for us to ground ourselves in who we truly are and to understand our purpose and to
Mm,
be of service to others around us.
yeah. Yeah. Now, your book, Silent Influences, I mean, yeah, the title is captivating. I mean, everybody's going to go out and buy it. Give us a couple of nuggets from the book. What does it mean to be a silent influencer? If people listening to this podcast, this broadcast, are thinking, "Ooh, how do I do that?" Come on, give us a couple of tips.
Yeah, absolutely. So, really, when we're talking about silent influencers, it's about understanding that life is ultimately not about being loud or flashy, but it's about small, intentional actions. That's what the life of silent influencers is all
Mm.
about. And so, the
No,
people
that's
that
not
I'm
what
speaking
Instagram tells us, is it?
Exactly. And so the people that I'm speaking to are people who don't necessarily seek the spotlight, but feel called to make an impact. It's for those who believe that leadership isn't about platforms or titles, but about being true to yourself and quietly transforming your spaces. It's for those who believe in character, service, and purpose. Now, I know for many people, they might hear that and think, yeah, but I do have a title and I do have a big platform. I'm not saying that those things are necessarily wrong, but what I'm saying is for those that do have that, how are you using that to quietly transform spaces, to be true to yourself, to be of service, and to ultimately serve a greater purpose?
Nice. And so tell us something practical. What can we do if we want to be silent influencers? What practical things can we do?
Absolutely. So much of what I write about in the book actually started off by Robert Greenleaf's idea in 1970, where he spoke about servant leadership. And he said that real leaders focus on serving others, not themselves. But I came to realize in order for us to serve others, we actually need to start off by understanding ourselves better. So the first thing that we need to do to become a silent influencer is we need to understand what our true values are. That's the first thing. The second thing that we ought to think about is how can we cultivate a vision that is centered around serving others and living a life of purpose. And so those are just two nuggets, but there's plenty others in the book as well.
Yeah, amazing. So, Joel, I had the privilege of coaching you to write your book. And what was it about the coaching course that most helped you?
Absolutely. So I've shared this with you before, Matt. I think for me, it was the tough love at times. um, there were weeks where I just I procrastinated, but Matt would tell me, "Hey, get it going." Or in the group chat that we have, he would send a message asking everyone to send their word counts for that week, and you're seeing everyone send their word counts, and you're like, "Oh my goodness, I'm still way behind." And so it's that accountability that really made a difference for me. And it's that community as well. You know, it's all well and good to have goals and all of us resonate with that. But many people lack the accountability and the community to bring their goals into reality. And so that is exactly what made a difference for me.
Yeah.
And had I not gone for this course, I would have sat on this idea since 2019 and not done anything
For
with
another
it
5 years.
for another 5 years. And so coaching is important, community is important, accountability is important. I always say to my clients this, or the people that I work with, how would it feel 10 years from now to be where you are today and know you have not started on a goal or vision in your heart?
Ooh,
Something to think about.
ooh, powerful. How would it feel 10 years from now to be where you are now,
Mm,
having not pursued the vision, dreams, and goals that you have?
exactly.
That's would not feel great, would it? Oh my goodness. Oh.
Exactly.
Oh. So, what was the obstacle that you had to overcome, Joel? Do you think? I mean, you talked about my tough
Mm.
love, the coaching, community, accountability, but what was it within yourself you had to overcome to write your book?
Yeah, great question. I would say really believing that I'm able to do it.
Mm,
And I remember one of the exercises that you had us do at the start was pick a picture or whatever it is, and set it as a wallpaper, as a reminder that we're on this course. And for me, I chose a picture of medals that I had won from the races that I've done in the past.
yeah.
And for me, that was a reminder that, Joel, you can begin and finish difficult things. And
Wow.
so for me, it was all about overcoming that 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 sense of, am I really able to do this? Imposter syndrome, can I be an author? Whatever
Mm.
it is. And so yeah.
That I love that. You can begin and finish
Mm,
difficult things
yeah.
because some people don't start, some people
Mm,
start and don't finish, but
yeah.
starting and finishing, yeah,
Mm,
it's so
exactly.
important for us all. Love it, Joel.
Exactly.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
And and your book now, your book is published. It's available worldwide. Just let that sink in for a moment. How does that make Joel feel?
Mm, mm. I remember during one of our sessions, I shared that I feel like this book being out there now, I've revealed a part of myself that I've not revealed before.
Mm.
And so there is a sense of feeling naked before the
Yeah.
world in that sense, vulnerable. Um, but one of the things that's been really helpful is knowing that throughout the writing sessions, I've stayed true to myself.
Mm.
And I think that brings me a lot of comfort. And it's also encouraging to know that Matt and the work that he does and the editing process and all of that, um, um, that that solid support system behind me is also incredibly comforting as well.
Mm.
But yeah, there is a sense of vulnerability in it. But what brings me comfort is knowing I've stayed true to myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Amazing. And you know, and now the book is there. What do you hope is the impact on a reader and the many people that will read your book? What do you hope happens for them as a result?
Really, Matt, as I was writing this book, and I'll close my eyes and say there were particular people that I was imagining as I was writing my book. The first group of people are people who have gone through life feeling like they have nothing to offer. Perhaps these people once upon a time had big dreams, had big goals, and maybe they're yet to see them come into fruition. But there's this sense of because they haven't seen those goals realized yet, they feel useless and worthless. What I want this book to do to those people is speak into that exactly, speak into that and say, actually, from where you are and what you have, you can have impact. And so those are the first group of people that I have in mind. The second group of people I was imagining as I was writing the book are people who have a platform, are people who have big titles, um, uh, but perhaps along the journey, they've lost their own sense of purpose and they've lost their own sense of identity. And
Mm.
so I want this book to also speak to them and remind them of who they are. You know, one of the exercises in the book is, as I mentioned, is picking out your values.
Yes.
In leadership, you can be so caught up in doing many different things, managing different teams and departments and divisions. But one of the most profound things that we can do is actually remind ourselves and ground ourselves in our values and our identity. And so those are the two people. First, people who think they have nothing to offer. And second, people who have platforms and who have titles, but want to ground themselves again in their sense of identity and
Mm.
purpose.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Joel, and thank you all for listening to the Publish You podcast, featuring the real life stories of authors from around the world. If you're interested in becoming an author like Joel has, please visit our website, www.publishu, the letter u.com, publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.